Okay, hello everybody. My name is Alex. I go by Nerdheimer. Today we're playing Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries in New York. This is a game by World of Darkness, and I have to say, one of my favorite games that they've ever made. Alright, let's go ahead and start up a new game. And community slot. Okay, so choose your clan, Bruja. Or I think it's how you pronounce that. The rabble rebel against power and rage against authority. And the seemingly inefficient man with significant ideas will join their ranks tonight. Okay, cool. Looks pretty cool. Ventru. The aristocratic blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Troubadour. The divas seek thrill of art, romance, and cruelty. Amidst stagnant undeath, a tormented artist will join their ranks tonight. Okay, yeah, looks pretty cool. Honestly, I kind of like him more. So, just gonna go with him. I'll put in my own name, Alex, and accept. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me about fate back when I was a human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. We are all designers of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was that I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. Hang on. I was hot shit, had it all: money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye, the one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in this place. See, she decided that would fit me much better. She was a ninth generation kindred, just like you, an apex predator. She's probably enjoyed teaching me, peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. Such an eyesore when I look at some of the loudmouth braggarts and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Well, my stars lesson was a lesson about fate, a message saying you're internally doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. Okay. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and one can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job, so she considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York City 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? And never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you're still having that meeting on 53rd Street later, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get me wrong, but it is precisely because I value that I am going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job. well, and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it, unpunished. But this is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. Oh shit, that's loud, okay. This is how it begins. The music is pounding, your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of those nights that makes you feel alive, even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, then a realization you have nobody to talk about how much it sucked. Still, you decided to roll with the punches. One Facebook search on local events later, and you just found the thing for your... I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. I'm not even going to attempt. So, a short subway ride, and you find yourself in a club just outside Dumbo. Not a fancy one, mind you. More like a slightly refurbished warehouse. But hey, at least the drinks are cheap. That's always a plus. DJ seems to really know his shit too, alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno, classic Detroit crowd pleasers, expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then two. Usually you'd feel awkward, not awake, sorry about that, coming to a place like this alone. But tonight you find something soothing in joining the crowd, blending in, even as you allow the beat to take over. Sweat, yours and other people's, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. A thought pops into your head. From outside, the fully packed club must seem like a stuffy smelling nightmare. But here, in the thick of it, it's becoming exhilarating. And you're not even on a pill tonight. There's this Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress chick clinging to her body, and she keeps bumping into you. Something tells you it seems incidental. Well, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever, because you know all too well what the next day holds. Waking up, getting dressed for work, the commute, the 9 to 5 grind, and keep you living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. I feel that. And with Jessica moving out, it'll all be coming out of your pocket. You run some quick calculations in your head, immediately come to regret that you did. Never mind. Spot the Latina again. She is now next to another guy, hitting it off. Your chances of not going to bed alone, gone. Just like that. Fuck. Your mood temporarily shot down. You leave the dance floor and stumble your way to the filthy bathroom. You take a look in the mirror and start to wash your face, obsessively, over and over again. A voice from your past echoes in your mind. Jessica, I've never felt like this with anyone. Seriously, I mean it. I feel like all my relationships up to this point were test runs, a shitty way to compensate for my low sense of self-esteem. But this feels right. Finally. Shut up, Jess. Fuck my ears. Okay. Sorry. This was the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need a smoke. Pass me a light? What do you mean? Cops took the lighter. There's one in your mouth. Just shut the hell up. This is not you. Not anymore. Oh, fuck off. This is so like you. Acting like some sort of Clint Eastwood wannabe when I really, really need you to open up. You think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you. I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. Yeah, that sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. You try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. And there she is, the Latina from before. She says you look like you need a drink. You hesitate for a second, or two, and then blurt out surprisingly and enthusiastic, yeah. You start to talk. It quickly becomes evident that she's into politics, and you are eager to please. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory, actual theory, not bastardized Twitter cliff notes, and organizing for all manners of causes online. The status quo sucks. There must be something better. She agrees. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories, have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, and even watch the same YouTube channels. Your goals are aligned. She's a bit more radical than you'd have guessed. You attended a few rallies, but been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked more than a couple cops in the nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into pent-up anger that you didn't know you had. The nosy club stops working for both of you, so you hit the streets. Just as you're leaving, the DJ starts playing All the Things She Said by Tattoo, of course. You chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. Good song, by the way. It's chilly outside, but soon enough, you'll find yourself too invested in listening to the girls' voice the care about anything else. You realize you've been holding hands for a while. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple and a drunk staring intently at his own feet. Plenty of room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. You can feel her thigh pressing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's the booze talking, but you distinctly hear your voice asking if she'd like to crash at your place. I've got a better idea, she says. At this point, you're down for anything as long as you get to let you spend just a few more minutes with her. She takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key, still holding your hand. The woman leads you upstairs. The room you end up is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flicking paint and a sticky floor. Not that it matters, though. The moment you step through the door, she's on you. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and not once does she lose the initiative. Your hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange. It doesn't look like she was that cold outside, but now her skin feels eerily cool. As if sensing your confusion, she slaps your hands off her. She kisses your neck. You are overwhelmed by the sensation. Darkness. The taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Her voice saying, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave the city in one piece. But don't worry. With my blood and your principles, you're going to do just fine." She slams the motel door behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on a soiled, pungent mattress for some time. Minutes? Hours? Before you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening, it hits you. The big hunger. It grips you by your throat and makes your insides shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. You crawl for a while, squirm on the floor in sundering pain, then jump to your feet and bust out the door. You black out. This isn't the room you saw when you last closed your eyes. Somebody curses at you. A small, naked, buff dude holding a short leather whip. Wow, what a goofy motherfucker. He throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. You black out again. The guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. There's blood on his arms. There's blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow, whoever did this is one sick puppy. You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. Someone else is there. A woman. Her arms are tied to the bed frame. An eye mask over her face. Red marks on her back. This time, you see it happen. You want to stop, but can't. She almost manages to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite into the side of her neck, and you drink. blood. You're drinking blood. You can swear you feel her life force escaping her body, entering yours. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from... She's not moving, but she's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. And a guy on the floor, though... You double over in a spasm, realizing what you did. You feel like throwing up, but can only gag. Panic sets in as another realization dawns on you. Your heart is not beating. You put 2 fingers to your wrist, but feel no pulse. Same thing on the neck. Nothing. There is no breath coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get someone to call you an ambulance. For yourself at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. Did you really kill him? What a mess. You look up. The door to the room is ajar, and a tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man filled the entire frame. He brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. Call 911. Hey man, you gotta help me. Call 911. So that you can get arrested and reported as a jail suicide within the next 24 hours, because that's the only way that plays out, son. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he was standing. He shakes his head in a mock concern. Murder. Assault. That's 25 to life if you're lucky. But since you're not, it's a death sentence. You take a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night. Otherwise, the sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around here when it does. The sun? What's the matter when the sun comes up? Ah, so you don't even know. You should be glad I got here before you made yourself scarce. The man approaches you and starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. Now listen to me. I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you. And by experience, it's in to fall in 2 categories. First, there are the smart ones who carefully obey my every word, and don't try to pull off anything stupid. I always get them when they need where they need to be, and safe and sound. And then there are the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on. The wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission. Troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. It's my one true weakness, one that inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system when dealing with pups like you. If you get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But cross you 3 times, and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually, he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. You realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. 3 strikes, and you're out. Say, I understand, sir. Now. Never been eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this is something else. The man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. I mean, going by that, yeah, I mean, it sounds like he could fuck me up, so yeah, I'm gonna go with, I understand, sir. Glad we have an understanding. Moving on, is there anyone you'd want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're alright. He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason, the sight sends a chill down your spine. There's something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you? My ex-girlfriend? Jessica. My ex-girlfriend. She kinda hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. Stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. closest person in your life hates your guts. This time, something resembling a look of pity. His eyes turn. He turns his eyes to the corpse on the floor. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin her day and let her know you're all right, give me her phone number. I'll have someone take care of it, discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. He interrupts this monotone recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I suggest you cooperate. He probably displays his fangs again. You've put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope that you can care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words are meant to imply otherwise, but by now it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight, and you're almost willing to oblige. Alright, I think it's enough lecturing for today. We're on a bit of a schedule here. Now, I don't need to hurt you, but I can do so in the blink of an eye. Just so that we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat, so you are going to play along, or do we have to do it the hard way? I kind of want to punch you because he's being a dick, but something's telling me to obey, like just eating at me to tell me to obey his fucking commands, because it might go better for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow him out. You weigh your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. A wise decision. Follow me, please, and close the door behind you. You take one final look at the woman who's just coming to, at the body on the ground. This is fucked. Absolutely fucked. You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. You contemplate signaling the bald guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on a small, ancient-looking TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear a dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme saying, "I just want to go home," as you're walking by. Your would-be kidnapper stops by the door and addresses you before opening it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I'm making a run for it. Maybe I can outrun him. I'll save you the trouble. You can't. You can either get inside my car, and I'll get you to where you need to be, or you could try something stupid that you'll regret later. Do I make myself clear? Why don't you turn me in? Because no one would benefit from that, and besides, I have my orders. He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. Oh, sorry. After you. I'm getting in the car. He sounds like he'll kill me if I try to run, so... Following the stranger's instructions, you can make your way to the car and get in the back seat. The door locks behind you. Inside, the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. Who are you? Who the hell are you, anyway? I'm the ferryman, here to take you to the other side. He lays his next words carefully. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about the state you're in or my role in tonight's events. Just remember, if you want to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. This is a nightmare. It's all a fucking nightmare. The stranger smirks. Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. You drive in silence for about 20 more minutes, As exhaustion catches up with you, the streetlights fade into a blur. Eventually, the car stops and the doors open. You emerge from the dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. The man points to a nearby door. Go on in, make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed, and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by the rattling AC fan in the wall. I guess I have to trust you. I guess I got no choice but to trust you. It took you this long to figure out. Remember, when I said you were lucky, I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always this polite about it. This time, I was specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned out, being stuck in here for a night is a really good deal. Now get in, or I'll throw you in. I'll walk in, step inside, the stranger nods. Good night. He closes the door behind you. It looks sturdy, but he's locking. But as he's locking it, you notice claw marks all over. Looks like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. You decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. There's a single plastic bag there, filled with red liquid, no label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best to leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the one back at the motel with the bound woman. Oh, right. You killed a man tonight. Or did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. The girl at the club, Jess might have put her up to it. The tall guy's clearly in on it too. Now he's back with them, and they're all laughing their asses off. I hate that sound. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep it going. Finally, you tense up one last time before drifting away to oblivion. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on, the AC is still rattling, the refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone, and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify you as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and the back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there. Take a closer look at it. If it is soup, then its color and textures are off. You pull the cork out and take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bag blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating, but now it's almost... No, not almost. It is enticing. Fuck it, drink the blood. Go. We're fucking gonna embrace it. It feels wrong, but right now, there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid in your mouth. It tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had the last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. You could take a few more sips, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually, you find that you've just emptied it entirely. All you look at the info pressed on the side of the bag, 450 milliliters of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when An image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all, when you hear the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is the well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look, like a hawk on a hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So, like a tame hawk, maybe. Good evening. Slept well? He notices the discarded empty bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Yeah, you got any more? I did. Got any more? No. And don't expect sustenance to be this easy to find the next time. Come on, we've got places to be. Oh, sorry. I missed my mouse. The car is humming in the empty parking lot, just outside the door of the cramped room you've spent the day in. The man motions to it, politely, but with a stern look on his face. I'm gonna get inside the car. I'm trusting you here, man. I'm touched. Sincerely. You take the back seat again. The door is locked. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproofed, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything, and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked all right. The piece of dark glass separating you from the front of the car looks sturdy too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and the back of your head. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spend the rest of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. It takes you another 20 or so minutes to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe. After me. No sudden movements, please. You approach a nice-looking building that houses a two-story gallery called the Art Hole. Two large men in suits flank the door on both sides. They give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour, to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigating the gathering, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guest's attention. The visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces, and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. The last time you felt like this was at your previous job interview. It was like being a piece of livestock, inspected from all sides for any imperfection, so your wage could be haggled down. It was dehumanizing and made you feel dirty. When they call you the next day to offer you the job, you declined. Even when you're a nobody, you become even less if you're traded away your dignity for a paycheck. The memory makes you feel warmer inside even now, although the state of your bank account never did. The woman. Good evening, Quadir. And to you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery. A crowd of strangers. You, being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helen Panhard, child of Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff, but I am capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She is has influence over these people. That much is clear. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. Punish me? Are you serious? For what exactly? The sins of the father, so to speak. We have certain rules. One of them is that it is unlawful to create progeny without the prince's approval. My approval. Your sire never bothered to ask for it. You are about to be judged by the court of New York City. Quadir, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some kind of secret society make-believe? A trusted informant who had chosen to remain anonymous at this time tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. The hunger made him savage, a prostitute, and his client in a Bronx brothel belonging to one of the ministry. I have already spoken to Sansirik about this, and made sure it'll blow over. Regarding the fledgling himself, surprisingly enough, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to our safe house. I was pleased to not have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat. Wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. Again, a pleasant departure from my usual routine. His thirst partially slaked with the bagged blood we kept in the safe house, we had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you, again. You take a special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair, and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Quadir. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. She turns your attention to you. First, there is the matter of your sire, the person who brought you where Quadir picked you up from last. Who were they? A Latina woman, very radical. Unless she was convincingly lied to me, she was special, extraordinary. She had a fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me, easily in fact. Made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. It feels awkward talking about to a room full of strangers about what seemed like a random one-night stand at the time. Not to mention that even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, her face is already fading from your mind. You realize she never even told you her name. Well, Quadir, does that sound familiar? No, it is not. Or at least not familiar enough. I will continue the search after we're done here. The receptionist she spoke to Minover. That chick, she rented out our room at the motel. Talked to the receptionist. He might know something about her. Unlikely, but regardless, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duty. Stay your hand for just a moment longer, Quadir. Wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom, and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask this Quadir what all that talk of traditions and counsel was, when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie? Sheriff? I was wondering if I could have a word with this fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Quadir. We all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have to stay in your hands tonight, after all. Her words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for domination. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside. The eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you are in quite the pickle. What the hell? What the hell is with this party for rich sickos? Looks like something straight out of a conspiracy theory. Everyone here knows a thing or two about conspiracies, but we don't have time to discuss those right now. So I'll stick to explaining what concerns you, most directly. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I am well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains. The beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale, really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness, and not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it, and your breathing has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. Sorry, I stumble over my words a lot when I'm reading things. The other voice just keeps saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" on repeat. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Quadir deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down as sure as the day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance and a way out under one condition. I will take you under my wing if you are lucky. The prince will be in a good mood tonight, and your deference to Quadir will work in your favor. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. What if I refuse? I believe I know what the prince will ordain, and I am certain Quadir will do his duty. You, my poor fledgling, will die. For good, this time. With me, there's a chance you will not. I can be your guide in this new reality. Steps and hushed tones, voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and her council are returning from the showroom. Quadir appears downstairs as well, starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Quadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard fastened with a powerful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Quadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of New York City, Camarilla, gathered here tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know that this is not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything to earn our ire. I do feel a genuine sorrow for what must be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders, and that their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my conscious divergent opinions on this. She takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin has somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority over this fetchling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be desires of responsibility, in their absence, it is their progeny that must be punished. The sentence will be final death, to be resolved presently. Quadir? You hear a scraping sound as you see that the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It is a beautifully detailed blade which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. All is sad as his eyes meet yours. You know just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. You will not get another chance to speak up. You make your choice. I'm not going down like this, damn it. Spare me. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand a little while longer. Quadir looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Miss Langley? Yes, if I may. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will continue this series here shortly. Thank you, and have a good night.